Oh, look, there's lots of jumping on. It's only 8 o'clock now, so there's a lot of people jumping on. So I hope that you have a piece of paper and a pen. And I'm going to ask you guys to do some of this work yourselves today, but I am going to talk to you about what Spirit's been chatting to me about. I get a lot of anxiety around this because, you know, I don't know exactly when some of this stuff is going to come into fruition, but what I know to be true is Spirit doesn't lie to me. And so I'm going to...
I can turn it up if you want to sit more comfortable.
I'm just going to find... Hang on, I'm just going to mute. Righto. Okay. So first, I just want to ground into the energy. Archangel Michael, my spirit guides. Okay, I'm good to go. Okay, I'm good to go. So, where do I start? So today I'm really going to talk about the energy for the month of October and some of the energies that is coming through really strongly for the month of October and what those pivotal dates look like and tipping points. I'm going to talk about farming. I'm going to talk about Maori culture, because I know that all of the ones on today are from New Zealand. I'm going to talk about obviously COVID and what we can do and what's our space and place right now. Right. So right now in the world, we are actually going through the biggest shift within humanity. And so when I say shift within humanity, it's a shift within our own consciousness and humanity as a whole, but it's also a shift of earth planes and Mother Nature. Okay, so when I say earth planes, it means, you know, that's the natural disasters that are starting to come through. The climate change, you know, children are going to start to find their voices about the way that we, as adults and as businesses and as governments, the accountability is going to become more tenfold. Where before in the past, for probably the last 5 years, we've dismissed them, like we have to dismiss them. The reality is we have to start thinking about what type of world, what type of country are we actually leaving for our children, because that's part of our own legacy. And so if I know that everyone watching right now is from New Zealand, and so this is more for New Zealand right now than the globe, but, you know, we need to start consciously becoming more aware of the secret messaging and some of the things that has been broadcast on our mainstream media, and this level of censorship, because there's a lot more happening in behind the scenes that they actually don't want you to know about. And so when I say that, everyone's like, what the fuck is she on about? Like, COVID-19 and this whole pandemic is a distraction for a bigger cause. And consciously, other countries are starting to awaken to this. New Zealand and Australia are 6 months behind. We haven't even got started. We're still in the simmering pot. So we're still just at that tipping point. We're still at that tipping point for people to find what they know to be true and to start to awaken to a different sense of consciousness. And so right now we have two choices in humanity. The questions that really is being asked is, are you comfortable with the status quo? And the status quo, or which is, you know, the conditioning of fear, because fear has always ruled us in as years and years and years. We've always been, that's the conditioning that we've become so used to, which keeps us in contracted energy. So when I say contracted energy, the thought of being, you know, contracted energy is feeling powerless. It is very much disconnection. It keeps us in a state of you know, anxiety right now is tenfold. Expanded energy, when we expand our energy, keeps us in a consciousness of being at flow, finding our purpose, knowing our place in this world. Things start to snowball and start to gravitate energy to where we want things to go. And so the messaging that we you know, the messaging hasn't changed. Like the messaging, when you go through the history books, the messaging hasn't changed. Just what's changed is the distraction. You know, when you go back to World War, like to how did they get the messaging through? By brainwashing us. We at the moment are the messaging that's coming through social media, conversations, businesses, our own media in New Zealand, our government is all the same messaging that makes us feel powerless and feel like we don't have a choice. And what happens when you feel like you don't have a choice? You know, you instantly go, I need to fit in, I need to do what's right, I need to do, like, put my hand up and go and, you know, do what's right. But here's the thing, the system's broken. And so when I say the system's broken, it doesn't actually matter if you get a COVID-19, like if you go and get a vaccine, because you can still contract COVID. And the system will still not be able to cope. So the whole messaging, oh God, I'm gonna have to move my computer screen because the sun's just coming up over my computer. This whole messaging is completely not really, because what's our game plan? Our game plan as a country, I'll go this way. Our game plan as a country is to keep people in lockdown at the moment, keep people in lockdown, keep people in fear, keep people in contracted energy, keep people worrying about their businesses, worrying about their livelihood, worrying about everything else. But the reality is the conversation needs to be like, right now, what are we doing with our borders? What are we actually doing with the vulnerable people in our country? Because the vulnerable people in our country are actually still going to be here, whether they get vaccinated or not. Or we're just going to expect a whole percentage of like 20% of our country just to live indoors, because a vaccine passport ain't going to fix it. And so this is this should be the conversation, but it's not the narrative that's happening right now. And so this is about separation and divide, and making people in our country feel like they're not equal. And what happens when you feel, well, what happens when people don't feel equal, or you take away their rights? You get an uproar. You get people going, well, fuck you. Why am I paying taxes? What's this fucking about? Da, 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 da. This is not about vaccinated and unvaccinated people. It really, really isn't. It's about so much more. It's about separation and divide and getting an agenda through, because what they're doing behind the scenes is so unethical as a country. And you know, you can just start to see this playing out, not that you'll see it on mainstream media, but you'll just start to see this being played out in other countries. Because this is the thing. How do people in the past get their agenda through? By misinformation and fear, and keeping us in contracted energy, which makes us feel powerless, or take away our freedoms. Take away our freedoms of choice. by the censorship that's happening on social media right now, by the censorship of the conversations, by the, you know, by the messaging that's we're being embarked through, you know, you can't go anywhere right now and not see messaging about take one for the team, get vaccinated. What happened to the messaging of being, it's of like pro-choice? Because don't we live in a country that's actually about freedom? Okay, I'll move on from that. That's just food for thought. Okay. So right now, I'm just going to put Nicola on mute. Okay, so right now, we're really at a crossroads, and we're at this tipping point. So when I say we're at this tipping point, this month, the light is going to be shined. So when I say the light, I mean the collective light is going to be shined so friggin' brightly. That sun's, if I tilt it back down, no, up. There we go. The light is going to be shined so friggin' brightly on the shadows of the collective. So you know that within our own self, we have shadow shit that we don't want to work on. We have shit within our own self that we kind of go, fuck, that's too hard. I need to walk away from that. Like, I'm, you know, I don't want to keep repeating the same patterns, and then we repeat the same patterns until we do our work. It's the same stuff in the collective and actually the world energy. So right now, the light is going to be shined so potently on the shadow stuff in the collective. And when it is shine, the energy, and this is what's going to be not so cool, but we're going to transition through it. The energy has the same energy of in October, and I want to say the dates. So from the 1st to the 3rd, you're going to see you really need to start to align with who you are and the balance, finding balance. Old trauma is going to come up in the next 2 days. On the 10th of the 10th, which is a magic number, we're going to start to see the energy starting to rise. We're going to start to feel uncomfortable. We're going to start to feel the surge of like, what the fuck? And, you know, some of us will still stand our ground. Some of us might be taken in the wave. On the 16th and 18th, we're going to start to see a real challenging energy. From the 16th to the 18th to the 20th to the, we're going to start to be question our own value system. The light's going to start to be shone. Some of us won't fucking get it and still be asleep. Some of us are going to get it. Some of us are going to go, what the fuck just happened? It has the same energy as Donald Trump's election. That same energy force, okay? Because the planets are all aligning. It has that same like wave of consciousness that's just going to just take the collective, and everyone's just going to be like, oh, did that really just happen? 23rd and 25th, we're going to be like, holy shit, like, I can't, like, am I really here? Is this really what is happening around me? Like, what the fuck? And so it's going to be really important for you to ground. This month, like this is the last time you're going to see me on social media for the next fortnight. So I can get so deeply grounded in myself and in my message for when this wave of energy comes. Because my work will, like our work as individuals will be so potent. And here's the thing. We all signed up to be here at this time. That's what we're forgetting. We all signed, when we came into this earth, we all signed up to be the age that we are, to have the voice that we have, to have the skills that we have right now for this time. Whether you want to own it or not, you did. And so, you know, what the messaging is, what type of world do we want to leave for our children? And that sounds pretty extreme. Like, that does sound pretty extreme, but that's literally where we're at. We are right now, how I can explain it. Do you remember the movie The Truman Show? I think it was Jim Carrey, and he was a kid that was born into a movie bubble. And the whole movie was about him, and he thought it was he thought that everything he did was his true life and true reality. But everyone around him, his wife, everyone were all actors. We're in something similar to that. So everything that we think we have no control on anything, and actually we have more control on things when we stand collectively as one. And this is not about the vaccinated and the unvaccinated people. This is about freedom of choice. And so, right. Farming. Let's go for farming. No, let's go for actually our mariculture. Let's start there. So systems are breaking down around us. Now, I know that I'm a white privileged person, and so this is a message that I've sat with for quite some time, because I don't want to look like I am racist when I bring this message through by any means. Okay, and everyone will have their own thoughts and individual feelings around this message. So, how I've been saying for the last 6, probably 8 months, the systems around us are breaking down. They're breaking down for a reason, okay? They're breaking down because we need to collectively realign. Everything needs to come back to equal and realign. A lot of people are going to struggle with this message. I know that a lot of people are. So our establishment, I've got to be really careful with what I say if I'm going to get this on YouTube. So our establishment is currently working right now behind the scenes to set up a whole other system for our Indigenous cultures, Indigenous people. So when I say a whole other system, what the fuck am I talking about? A Maori system, a health system, a health board, a health system, caring for their own, a schooling system elements of that will be integrated into mainstream system. Department of Conservation, land will be shifted and handed back to our Indigenous people, the whole department, all of that land. You might think I'm off my fucking rocker, and I don't give a shit. This is why I've really felt this mess. I don't actually give a shit, because this might not happen right now, but this is coming. This is the energy that's coming. And so if we want to live in a country where we're all one and freedoms, we cannot allow the vaccine passports to come through, because that's going to create divide and division, which is going to make us individually, collectively all go, fuck, we have no power in this. And then this other stuff is going to start to roll out. It already is rolling out. Wasn't it last month or 2 months ago, they decided they were going to change our health boards and start a system. So all of the land that is currently owned by the Department of Conservation is going to shift. Water, the water reform. Who owns the water? This has been an up for debate thing for generations in New Zealand. Don't think that the water reform is all about collectively it coming as one. Because what will happen with the water reform, it will become a way that they can tax it, that then will fund money for this other stuff that they've got going on over here that we don't know about. Okay. Land. I know people are going to think I'm off Morocco, but you know, anyway, land. Right now, if you're a farmer, this is the other thing that's happening, land. You know why the farmers are so friggin' angry? And we just go, oh, yeah, they're all rich, or, oh, yeah, they're not, you know, they need to change the way that they do things. It's because some of this stuff is going to impact them. What's the backbone of this country? It's been tourism, which is fucked. Let's just get clear. Tourism's fucked. It's been tourism that makes our money. It's export and imports, which isn't happening at the moment. The only thing that's being exported off our shores is stuff that's actually owned by other companies, like food, like Fonterra, Silver Fern Farms, you know, that like we're not like, which isn't even owned by us. It's not even owned by the Kiwis anymore. It's not even owned by our farmers. It's owned by China. So that's fucked. It's not like reality is, which is all impacting Johnny on the spot, the small businesses, the small people. And then we have tourism, export, import, and farming, right? Farming. So I'm all for sustainable farming. I really am. I grew up in a small town called St Andrews. I go down there now and I look at my small town, and it's, you know, it is complete dairy farming right now. Dairy farming and the farming community is the backbone of this country. Let's just be bloody clear on that, because, you know, before it used to be sawmilling, it's gone ashore. It used to, and this is where, when I said right from the start, it's about resilient people, resilient communities, resilient country. They're chipping at the top. And so farming does need to change in order for us to grow sustainably as a country. Yes, it does. I do not have an argument about that. For farming to survive in New Zealand under the new regulations that's coming in, and I hope so many farmers listen to this, they need to become multifunctional. They can't just specialize in one thing like dairying. They need to become multifunctional, whether it be sheep, deer, planting trees or something, or crops. They need to become multifunctional, because what's going to happen is, as we start to see all these systems collapse, oh, I fucking hate saying this. As we start to see all these systems collapse around us, and this isn't going to happen like just like that. This is going to take a couple of years. But as we start, you know, and all these regulations and everything, and we start to see these systems collapse, farmers aren't going to be able to survive if they don't start versatile, like changing their ways now. And so farmers are going to be thrown off their land. Who's going to buy it? It isn't going to be us. It's going to be big corporations. It's going to be people like Bill Gates. It's going to be China. It's going to be big industries. And so what's going to happen? We might be the producers of some of the best products, but we will not be the consumers. And so what does that mean? So what food will we have left to eat? You know, we will have farmers markets. There will be some people, but what will come will be genetically modified, cloned meat. It's happening in China. It's coming here. Resilient people. How do you build resilient people? By building resilient health, by building resilient well-being, by building resilient bodies, by looking outside the medical system, by doing everything that you need, mindset, wellness. How do you build resilient communities? By bringing people together, by bringing resources together, by standing as one, not as individuals. How do you build a resilient country? By standing up for what you fucking feel is right. This is not about the vaccines. This is about divide and separation. And so I know probably people are like, this woman's off her rocker, and that's okay. I see this starting to really, and this is going to start to really integrate in the next 2 to 3 years. The cloned meat will come a little bit longer, but it will come. Okay. And so it's about accountability. You know, do we want to live in a country where we don't even have, like, where we are restricted to only to use this much amount of water? And we have to pay for our water. This is a really, like, I have sat on this message for probably about 6 to 8 months because I went, people are going to think I'm off my rocker. Land is so important. Land right now is more important than it's ever been before. Notice that all our properties are now where I grew up in a 1/4 acre section. Now we're living on 200 meter square sections, you know, for like littler sections where we can't grow food for our own family. This is, you know, I said probably 6 months ago, we're going to start to see so many Kiwis come home. 30,000 Kiwis wanted 3,000 beds to return home. Like, where are they all going to live? They might come home fully equipped with amazing, like, services and trades that we need, but the reality is we're broken. Everything's maxed out. Mental health's maxed out. Suicide rates is maxed out. We've got an institution that is always, doesn't matter if it's National, Labor, fucking Greens, whoever, the reality is it's always been about control, fear, and the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. Let's put a sticky on it. Something needs to shift. And so now grab your piece of paper, because I'm curious. I want you to grab your piece of paper. And if you want to turn your video on and actually have a conversation about this, I'm more than happy to have a conversation. Okay. So come on, Kylie. Grab your piece of paper. I want you to write at the top what matters. Like, what matters to you. Doesn't matter if you're in your PJs, guys. So what matters? So I'll give you guys a couple more minutes just to do that. Okay, so what matters to me is my family, my lifestyle, freedom, being a mum, having a home, and my health. Okay, you guys might have something different, and it's okay, because everyone, we're all fucking different. Okay, so it's okay. I want you to draw a line right through the middle of the page. That line represents your bottom dollar. That line represents, like, your bottom dollar. What are you prepared to fight for? What are you prepared to lose? Okay, up the top, out of what you've written up here, what out of that are you prepared to lose, and what are you prepared to fight for? So I want you to start shuffling it. So are you prepared? So for me, I'm prepared to lose my lifestyle to some degrees in order to, like, I'm prepared to lose that. I'm not prepared to lose my health. I'm not prepared to lose my freedom. So I want you to start shuffling. What sits okay? And what is it that you're going, what is it that is the bottom line? I'm showing the fuck up. I'm getting a voice. Okay, so I'll share mine. So mine was what matters to me: family, my lifestyle, freedom, being a mum, home, and health. What I'm prepared to lose is actually my home and my lifestyle, but what I will absolutely, what's my bottom dollar is my family, the role of being a mum and being a protector, and my freedom. Does anyone want to share what they've got? Because these might be completely different to mine. Sarah, Kylie, Nicola, hiding in the background, Kathy? It doesn't matter. Go, Kylie. What matters, hun? What about you?
Mine was very much the same. So it was food, home, business, my health, my lifestyle, freedom of choice, family, financial freedom. And I'm willing to lose, but like you, lifestyle to some extent, financial freedom, and that's about it really. But everything, I find it really hard to find much that I would, like, it all matters to me. Quite a lot. Like lifestyle, I'm quite happy to give up my lifestyle and stuff like that, but to me, freedom of choice is really important, family is really important, health and having a home is important to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very much the same as yours though, Lily. Yeah.
Yeah. Sarah's got a room full of people. Thank you, Kylie, for sharing. Does anyone else want to share? Because the thing is, and the reason why I got you guys to do this, I know that's fucking confronting, because all of a sudden, like, I write that down on a piece of paper and my stomach does a 360 and I think to myself, fuck, I'm going to have to fucking show up. There's going to be a point that I'm really, and when we get to that tipping point, there's going to be a point that I'm going to have to fucking show up. And that feels really uncomfortable. Kathy has just written, which, Kathy, I'm going to send you an email because I need to change your son's time. Mine's basically the same as yours, Lily. And so here's the thing. What I think we've forgotten is we actually matter. You actually matter. I actually matter. We actually matter. That's what we've forgotten. Like, we have actually forgotten who we are. And, I know Kiwis, because I know everyone here is a Kiwi. and I speak to a lot of overseas people, like my priestess sisters and stuff, and you know, they're like, oh my God, I hope New Zealand doesn't get to the state that we do. And I'm like, well, I think the thing is, we've all forgotten who we are and what matters. We've all forgotten how to use our fucking voice. We've been suppressed for so long in order to fit into a society that really isn't fucking serving us as a collective or as individuals, and you know, when we think about systems, we are a system within our own self. We have to do our own shadow work. Outside of us, our family is a system. Outside of our family, our community is a system. Outside of our community, our country is a system. We have just allowed, we have allowed so much to continue thinking it's not our place to speak. It's not our place to find our inner sovereignty. It's not our place to have pro-choice, you know, not, you know, we've forgotten who we are as individuals. Oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. And so, you know, when we hit this tipping point, which it's going to be a wave of consciousness starting to rise and a gasp of air, something needs to change. Something needs to change. Because we collectively cannot live in the narrative of fear forever. And so, Australia, for instance, the only reason why Australia right now are listening, untightening their borders and everything, because they haven't got a plan. They've got no fucking plan. Scotty from marketing needs to get elected next year. Don't think that they've got a plan, because we haven't even got a plan. Our plan should be about the vulnerable. And if we had a plan, like, let's just be clear, our borders could open today. Our borders are not the issue that they make them out to be. Yes, our borders are our first line of defense. Yes, absolutely. But if people are coming over here vaccinated and the vaccine's as good as what they say it is, people are coming over, flying into New Zealand unvaccinated with a COVID test, and then they're tested again at the borders with the nasal test. Why can't we have our borders open? Why can't we bring back tourism? So I do see New Zealand also being, I don't know, Spirit hasn't got clear on this, but I see it like a traffic light system. So I see regions in green, yellow, blue, and I do think we are going to have some type of restricted movement over the Christmas period. So I think that's all I need to say, because I think I've probably freaked the fuck out. I freaked you all out. Does anyone want to ask any questions or have any feedback? Okay. Because if you do, ask. Oh my God, I've had so much anxiety about giving this message.
So Lily, like, they're really obviously really pushing the vaccine at the moment, and it's obviously going to amplify even more so.
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to get to the point where we literally have no choice?
I do think that so I think there's two things, like if we come together as a collective energy for so I think some of this unraveling is not going to happen here in New Zealand. I think the unraveling is going to happen overseas, and we're going to start to look more and more at overseas statistics and probably what's happening in Australia could be some hint to it. As much as everyone reckons that that state lady, what's her name, from NSW, New South Wales, has just resigned. So in New South Wales, so that's the other thing that's happening over in Australia. And then I'll answer your question. So in New South Wales, I think her name's Gladys. Yeah, it's Gladys. They've just told me. Gladys has just resigned. So Gladys is the one that's kept them in restrictions for so long. And she's just resigned because supposedly, and she has been, having an affair with some guy. I mean, having like a relationship with a guy where now they've decided that, it's no good. She can't do a job anymore. She's, but they've known about that for ages. But that's the get out of jail card for her. The reality is she started to publicly start speaking about her concerns about, she didn't believe lockdowns were working, and she didn't believe that when you start looking at the statistics, like the other day, there were 7 deaths. I think it was, quote me if I'm not sure if this is accurate, but I know that like 4 of those deaths, 4 of them were double vaccinated, 2 of them weren't, or whatever it was. And so she started to like go against the narrative, right? So now she's been kicked out because she didn't want, because Scotty from marketing needs to be re-voted in. So he needs to loosen up the reins a little bit so everyone can go have a lovely Christmas and Australia will shit itself. Okay, so I do feel that some of the lids are being, and in Melbourne, the police that you see on the streets are World Health Organization police. Some of them are World Health Organization police, not Australian police. This is not reported on our media, but my 2 priestess sisters, Marie, she has said this publicly. Like she said this because she's like, she used to live in Melbourne for many, many years, and she was a high flyer. And so that's what's happening over there. As Australia starts to self-destruct more, and we start to see what is happening more with the over in America, because I think America might be part of this bomb drop. What's going to happen is Kiwis are going to get the information and get more angrier at the narrative. I do think we are going to lose restrictions, but this is where it comes back to us standing as one and us standing together. Because I don't think the government will mandate it. I think they will try to mandate it to some degrees and say it's mandated, but I feel like where we are today, it's not going to be where we're going to be in March. Because this is like a 6-month, like we are going to be purged. We're in a purging, guys. We're in a massive purging. And Spirit keeps telling me that, because the vaccine, Nova, I think it's Nova, this is what Spirit keeps telling me, Nova or Canova, is made from more traditional ways of a vaccine, more traditional ways. It's more traditional than the vaccine that we've currently got. And you're going to start to see that they're not going, the reason why they haven't ordered their booster shots is because I don't think the 3rd booster will be given to everyone. I think the 3rd booster might be 60 plus. Because here's the thing, you can go get vaccinated, but you need to get another booster. Like in 6 months' time, that vaccine's buggered. So you need to go get another booster. So how do we just like keep getting the shot whenever? So I do feel like they're really going to put the restrictions into hospitality and gathering and events. And I think what you'll find is business owners, like businesses, will make the decision about whether they serve you as vaccinated or unvaccinated. But to get medical, to actually get treatment in hospitals, you're gonna have to be vaccinated. But you right now are seeing, what we're seeing is doctors, New Zealand doctors coming together, and there'll be doctors that will support unvaccinated people. They're like, we'll have our own little collective over here of unvaccinated doctors and stuff that like, yeah. But we're the last country that I hate saying this, we're the last country that this new order needs to happen in, because we are the most what's the word? We are the most wanted. We're the most untouched. We're the most natural. We've got room, we've got space, we've got growth. And so for those of you that came on the last call, and I said to you, I think you should Google Amazon shareholders, Pfizer shareholders, AstraZeneca shareholders, YouTube shareholders, and the same shareholders come up every time. Don't, when you look at how all of a sudden it's an amazing announcement that Amazon has just launched their new web platform to come here. Their multi-billion-dollar business that they're setting up here. Have we been sold out? Why would they come here? Does anyone else, does that answer your question? Probably not.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And that's the thing. I feel that it's going to be the employers that are going to be putting the pressure on staff to get vaccinated, and then it's going to be leaving people in a really difficult position to put food on the table or a roof over your head or get vaccinated. And that's what worries me, I guess, the most is, it's coming back, like you say, to that list of what's important to us, but being able to feed the families and being able to be resourceful and pay for the roof over our head and stuff like that, that's when it's not going to be cool when businesses are doing stuff like that. And already I'm seeing it at my work, they're putting up 90% posters, and that's just the start of the push. And it's quite scary, but definitely can feel that.
If 90% gave us herd immunity, how come it's still being transmitted in the countries that have COVID? How come it's still being...
And I don't agree with it either. And I don't agree that the vaccine is what we need to be doing. And I don't agree that it actually makes a difference. But when you're, like you say, freedom of choice is being pushed because it comes down to freedom of choice or feeding the family, is when that's really not okay, what the country's doing. So it's gonna, I think it's, I feel that what you're talking about in October is going to be getting to those sorts of decisions for a lot of people. Yeah,
it will. It's going to be a tipping point. So when I say tipping point, and then you're going to start to see November, that level of like that anger. December, Spirit keeps telling me, Lily, go Christmas shopping. So I've started Christmas shopping. By December, it's going to be like game on. My sister's a school teacher at a school locally. I said to her, you better start looking for another job, sister, because I don't think you'll be there this time next year. Like, I don't think you'll be going back next year. And so I feel, but the thing is, if you look at, oh God, here's another thing that probably might freak people out. And the Parliament, the institution, this is so not going to get on YouTube. The institution is currently now putting an order through We're our emergent state of emergency. So we are in a national state of emergency for COVID-19 to May, I think it is, or March 2022. They've now extended it to May 2023 and asked for more rights. The rights being, this is going through Parliament right now, the rights being that they can enter people's homes, they can enter people's businesses, they can also enter homes, enter businesses, extend the election. So the election might not happen in 2023, they can push it out. And here's the thing, when you look at all of our politicians, they're all on the same narrative. So it doesn't actually matter who the hell's in government right now. It wouldn't friggin' matter because they've all got the same narrative going. This is not about, this is the narrative is how we've always been conditioned. That's what we're forgetting here. The narrative is how we've always been conditioned as a whole. Does anyone else have any questions? Because I know I've probably freaked everyone out, and I don't mean to freak people out. And so I have pulled 2 cards because I pulled 2 cards. First card was forgiveness. Am I comfortable a little bit more talking about education? Yeah, I can talk about education. So I do think education's changing. I do feel like the way we learn, and I'm not saying this is going to happen like right now, I feel like this is going to be integrated through, and you're starting to see some of these changes happening. I do think that the way we're learning, so I'm talking about education for schools like primary schools, I do feel like the way that we're learning isn't aligned with what's best for the child. And I do think that there is going to be some type of integration around changes around that, where collectively we have mainstream schools and we might have schools that are more holistic and more opening approach, where children are where it's not so much about, dare I say it, the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you must learn like this and fit in this hole. I feel like it's going to be more holistic and integrating with nurturing the child, as in wellness, mindfulness, maths, English. It's not going, like, it's more going to be the wholeness of the child rather than you have to learn like this and fit in this box. I do feel like we are going to see an integration of changes within our school system within the next 2 to 3 years, is what they're telling me. I feel like that will be because we all know the system isn't working. Like, we all know it isn't. And the reality is teachers are maxed out. And as we start to see more of an approach of, because I think universities, we're going to see more and more lectures online, because that's where people gather. And so we're going to start to see more and more of this happen in lectures in our universities and in our schooling. I also feel like we're going to also see a whole separate education system set up for children that may not want to go to, parents may not want them to go to school because they have to fit with the narrative. A friend who is an ex-teacher said there are groups of teachers who don't want to be vaccinated. Yeah, and that's what I mean, that don't want to fit with the narrative. Yeah, And so I do think that there are going to be options out there, and to what they look like, I don't think it's going to be, it's going to take a wee while to integrate through. But here's the thing, guys, like, here is the thing. Is the institution really going to mandate, like, police unvaccinated, vaccinated people? Is it really going to walk? We don't have enough cops as it is now. So they're really going to walk around mandating us? Or is it the civilians that are going to become the police officers? It's going to be us. To a degree. It already is us. By the way we're turning on each other. And that's where, we come back to, we have to hold so much more light now than we've never held before. We have to lovingly show compassion. They don't have enough people, like, to even sort out the system as it is. So how the hell are they going to police, like, civilians? How are they going to police us? It's the security guards standing outside the checkout, standing outside the supermarkets. It's the people standing outside the warehouse. They're going to put this on the businesses to start with. It's us when we go to a dinner party. Oh, you can come, but are you vaccinated? It's us putting those regulations on each other. They will try to some degrees, but it's going to be, they don't have enough people in the system to actually make it operational. Okay. So the first card was forgiveness and understanding. And that's about us. That's exactly what I just said. We need to hold more light now than we've ever held before. And ground, because this month is going to be, it's going to start the roll-on effect of the tipping point, and friendship and unity. We need to lovingly respect those that may not have the same view as us and still hold them with loving respect. Even so, they might be pushing and triggering every button that we have. We have to lovingly love them where they're at. Because we've got to remember, and this is what Spirit keeps telling me more and more. Some people are awakening to this process right now. Some people are awakening right now. Some people on this call are awakening. Some people are awakening after some people will get the information, still not believe it, or feel it energetically, still not believe it, still not feel it to be true, and then or see it, tangibly see it, and still not feel it to be true, and still carry on. And that's okay. We're not going to all awaken at the same time. And that's around everything I just shared, like everything I just shared. This is right now a rebalancing of humanity and a rebalancing of the the citizens of the world, of global humanity, of the earth, of Mother Nature. Some people, you could talk about climate change right now and they go to you, what the fuck? There's no such thing as climate change. Or, like we talk about, they don't give a shit. And so everyone's at a different awakening space. And this isn't about, as much as it probably feels like it is, but it actually isn't about the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. This is about freedom and choice. This is about separation and divide. And I will always go back to that. Because the reality is, and I mean this with so much love, what type of New Zealand do we want to live in? Because we've been separated from ourselves for so long as individuals. We have treated our Indigenous people with so little respect. We have separated our, like in the past tense, like in the past, and you know, we have separated ourselves through religion, through like, you know, me being like a witch, a priestess, like I've been separated from communities because of who I am. We can't keep living like this. Because in order for us to heal, we have to heal humanity. We have to find our voice, and we have to remember what the fuck matters. What's our bottom dollar? You matter, we matter, our community matters, and our children matter. It's that simple. But it all feels like right now we're all in a pressure cooker. But you know what? We're just on, like we're simmering now. We're about to get boiling. The next 6 months, we're about to get boiling. Okay, I know I said a lot, and I know it's probably like a lot for people to digest, but I know it to be true. So I just want everyone just to close their eyes and just take a deep breath in and put their hands on their hearts. I'm just taking a deep breath in and allowing the information just to integrate into their soul, and allowing all that needs to be witnessed, whether that be tears, anger, grief, serenity, peace, allow it just to be. And remember that you signed up to be here right now. You are not powerless. You have a voice, and you matter. And what you write on your list matters, because that's what you know to be true within your soul. I'm just taking another deep breath in and out, and asking your higher self, your guides, to help you ground as you navigate forward in the coming months ahead, and allowing you to find your place in space and your people in whatever way that may be, and whoever that is, allowing them to be open to step forward. And just remember today, just with loving grace and peace, that you matter. And as we call forward Archangel Raphael and Archangel Michael to give not only ourselves healing and protection in the coming months ahead, also our family, our friends, the world, and the collective energy. And just allowing them to walk beside you as we navigate this way forward, and remembering that they're always here, whatever that looks like. I'm just taking another deep breath in and just giving thanks. And just whenever you're ready in your own time, just coming back to full circle. I know that today was some big messages to receive. And you know what? You've got this. You've absolutely got this, whatever that is for you. with love and kindness. Thank you so much for coming on the call, because I know it's like early in the morning. Have a fabulous day. Don't be overwhelmed. Please do not be overwhelmed. Go outside, do some energy pulsing, ground into what you know to be true and what it is that you need to do for you. Okay? Much love always. Take care, everyone.